Hey everybody, today we're gonna dive into the hottest web design trends of 2024, but first let's take a look back. The web has come a long way since its birth in the 90s, from basic functionality to the flashy interactive era of Flash. Then came the smartphone revolution, starting responsive web design for the first time ever. Then came the UX and minimalism wave, which basically focused on simplicity and flat design. Then we had this weird and short time of neumorphism, but more on that later. And now we are basically entering a new era marked by AI, VR and AR to deliver even more immersive experiences right to your website. But how will 2024 look like for web design? While I don't have a crystal ball and I can't see the future, I have some predictions. So let's go on a quick journey together and find out if these new trends are hot or not. So let's start off with a trend that's all about dynamic storytelling, micro videos. Now these aren't your typical hero videos, they're much more subtle and surprising. Imagine that micro videos are like sprinkles on your digital cupcake. So basically they are short animations or videos used throughout the site to really bring each section or each segment to life. These micro videos may not be the main course, but they can definitely be the garnish of your website. So when you navigate a page in small videos play, it shouldn't just be more information for the viewer, it should really add to the whole experience of the website. There are definitely some challenges though. Poorly executed micro videos can lead to slower loading times for the website and even ruin the user experience. And what's also really important is that they need to really fit into the narrative of your whole website and also the design. Because here's the thing, these videos need to be quick and to the point, and they shouldn't just be another layer of fluff for your website, but they need to really add value to the whole experience. So what is my take on micro videos? I think they are definitely hot for 2024. They can really provide more in-depth quality experiences for the user without overwhelming them, and an important trend to watch out for or even use yourself in your next website projects. Alright, next up is something you might not see, but actually hear. And yes, I'm talking about sound effects on websites. In my opinion, sound effects can be like small hidden gems on a website, which makes them really fascinating. So it's definitely an opportunity to stand out today. And what I really love about them is they can turn any simple experience into something truly special, just like micro interactions, which you won't notice at first, but when you dig deeper, really makes the whole experience so much more special and unique. It can just add that little extra layer of polish and uniqueness. For example, when you just hover over that button and you hear that little hover sound, and when you click the menu and you just hear a little sound, it can be really satisfying for the user. And I feel it just makes the site more alive, more responsive, which are all great things that you want as a designer. But it's not all super simple. You have to implement it, which sometimes can be tricky. And also you have to find a balance that is not too much for the user. If you use sound effects or music on your website, there definitely should be an option to mute it. As I said, some people just can't stand it, and there really needs to be a way for them to turn it off.
Revolutionizing the packaging industry with unparalleled elasticity and durability. Where traditional wraps falter, Quantum stands.
So really try to strike a balance between enhancing the user experience and not overwhelming it with so many different things. So what's my opinion on sound effects for 2024? Definitely hot, super cool. I look forward to using them as well for a new project, and I'll be very excited to see more of this in the upcoming year. Now moving on to the next one, and one of my favorites, cards and collectibles on the web. If done right, they are more than just a visit, they can be an actual adventure. Recently, there's been an interesting shift in the web design landscape. A lot of people are turning their websites into actual gaming experiences. Take for example Ivan Faskel's design portfolio. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Here you collect a card for each section that you visit, and you can unlock more content as you go through the site, which I think is really a cool way. It's basically like a digital treasure hunt. And what I really love about it is that once you have visited all the sections, you actually unlock new content of the website, which makes it so much more fun to actually go through it and see what the portfolio is all about. How cool is that? It actually rewards users for exploring the site, which anyway is your goal as a designer. And Google's The Web Can Do It card game is another brilliant example. It basically teaches visitors how to build more immersive and better web experiences, which I think is a fantastic example how to turn knowledge into a game, which is a really great way of transferring knowledge and making it more accessible to more people. Another one is Typefinder, where you engage in an interactive card game where you need to recognize different typefaces. For me as a designer, I really love this because you can always learn new things about typefaces, and I think it's a great and fun memory game. Go check it out. I think it's fun, it's educational, and it's a totally new approach, which I think really interesting and creative. A great example how you can turn like a basic website into an interactive experience that users are actually eager to dive into. While this approach is without question really engaging, it's definitely not without its challenges. It requires a lot of creativity and a deep understanding of who will visit the site, so you can make a relevant experience out of it. In my opinion, the goal is not to really create the game for itself, but to enhance the existing functionality of a website in a fun way. Also, these card game and collectible games are probably definitely harder to implement than some of the other trends, which are more subtle. So you definitely need the chops to do that. So what about this trend for 2024? I think card games and collectibles are definitely hot also for this year. And I think it's an innovative way to make a website stand out. Just make sure that it's relevant to your content and you're good to go. Next up, let's talk about a trend that's lately been stirring up mixed feelings in the web design world. Yes, I'm talking about neumorphism. It's like a blast from the past, basically taking us back all the way to the design world of 2019. Which funnily enough is the year when I started pursuing my design career for the first time. So neumorphism basically is all about creating UI elements that mimic the aesthetic of the real world. You have these inner shadows, you have these button designs that basically pop out of the screen. For sure, visually interesting, but the real question is it practical and what is the real purpose behind it? From a developer's perspective, it's often a nightmare, and it tends to complicate the whole coding process without adding anything to the site really. I feel from a design standpoint, it feels really overdone and it doesn't really add anything to the user experience. Yeah, I personally don't really like it, to be honest. Also in terms of accessibility, neumorphism can really fall short. The subtle differences between the shadows are often not enough from the contrast to provide a good user experience. And it can make basic functions of the website, for example, to navigate through the site, harder for some users because they cannot properly see the edges of some of the UI elements. So what's my take on neumorphism for 2024? I'm calling it a not, and I think it definitely needs to phase out slowly of the design world. It's time to move on to design styles that are not only visually appealing but also functional and accessible, because in my opinion design is always finding this sweet spot between usability and aesthetics, and with neumorphism this just isn't the case. Moving on to the last web design trend of 2024, super bold type. And now you might be thinking, well, this isn't new, we've had this for years. True, we've had bold typography for some time now, but I feel like the way it's being done now has become really fresh and exciting again. Thanks to advances like variable fonts and new enhanced styling capabilities, there's a completely new world open for typographic choices in design. Now let's look at some examples. Take the Frank Gehry website for a concert hall, for example. I think this is a great showcase how you can use this super bold typography to really make the site more engaging. And it's really using it in a great way that commands attention and really fits in with all the other content of the concert hall. Really recommend you to check it out. Another fun example is the Meta site, which is basically a platform for artists. And they use the super bold type, of course, in the hero section, which is very minimal and cool. What I find really funny about this site is the cookie banner, that they even use the super bold type here, which is again really bold and fresh. But of course, there are also challenges here for this trend. Super big typefaces don't really fit neatly on the screen most of the time, especially if you have longer words. Also, it can be a real pain when you have to deal with languages like German, which has just absurdly long words. Using this trend is a fine line between getting your message across and making a statement. But if done right, it can really transform your messages from an ordinary site to something extraordinary, which we are always looking for as designers. My opinion on super bold type for this year, definitely hot. I'm all for expressive typography. Also, I think this is a more timeless trend because great typography never really goes out of style. And I think it's a great way to make your website stand out this upcoming year. From playful gamification to bold statements in type, I think 2024 is gonna be a really exciting year for web design. As we wrap up, remember web design is always changing. Today's not could be tomorrow's hot and the other way around. What I'm really curious about is, what do you think of this trend? Do you agree or disagree with my views? I would love to know it down in the comments. If you learned anything new in this video, please consider liking and subscribing to see more content like this. Till next time, and remember, stay hungry and keep creating.